Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and we talk about it. And today we're talking about the last 4 episodes of Season 1 of Black Summoner. It has been a journey. It's been pretty wild, and we're going to be rating the anime on a scale from from S tier to F tier and putting it on our board. And then at the end of this episode, we're going to be picking a brand new anime to watch for the next couple of episodes of the show. Here are the anime that are in the anime chest. We have a couple of new additions there. One being Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, who is a pick from a couple weeks ago where it was Ranking of Kings, but we got it changed because we've already both seen Ranking of Kings. We're going to watch that possibly this next couple of episodes, but we get to pick a new anime at the end of this one after we're done talking about Black Summoner. And I'm not on this anime journey alone because I go along with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing today?
I am so excited to be wrapping up a show and getting into another because oh boy, yeah, there's a lot to say, some good, some bad, but I'm excited to get into it so we can get it over with.
Because there's a lot. I mean, these last 4 episodes were really different, and if you would like to submit an anime to the chest, you can do that by what's the button here? Is this one? I think that's the button. You can submit 500 bits before the end of the episode, and you can get one of the animes on the list that you would like. Just pick an anime, put it up there. But this one was a little different than the other 8 that we've already seen because we're going to be discussing episode 9 through 12. There's a lot more story, a lot more exposition. I really wish this would have came a little bit earlier, but I mean, we're stuck here watching it. I think I kind of like the way it panned out. We got to see more information about all these different characters and what's actually going on in the world a little bit. Something new in the episodes, we're going to be putting a couple of tickers down at the bottom. So if you're watching on live, you'll be able to see some things, information about us, maybe some quotes in the coming episodes. They're going to change, I suppose, every episode, but they'll be scrolling down at the bottom as we talk about the episodes during the show. So this one's probably my favorite, but there it is. And it's true. I'm just saying, Jujutsu Kaisen, not a fan, but it'll be there.
All right, guys, we'll edit that out.
So we got to get into it. Matt, episode 9, Hero Summoning. What happens in this episode of Black Summoner?
To really get through it so we can get into it, Melfina is introduced and gives Kelvin the grace of Melfina, allowing him to summon a hero into the world. After much pondering, Kelvin decides to summon a new hero, bringing Rio into this world, who is excitedly ready to join the party after departing her life from the last world.
Yeah, and we get an introduction of a brand new character here.
Kind of two in a way. Like, I mean, we got Melfina being summoned last episode, but like so now she's getting introduced and she's like actually meeting everybody and actually doing stuff in this episode, and it immediately leads us into bringing in another character. I'm just like, okay.
The way they were hyping it up the entire anime, that this girl hasn't been seen, that we don't know who she is. She's the most beautiful person because our hero Kelvin devoted his life, asked him to marry her, or something like that. Something happened when he was switching into this new world that Melfina still has the hots for him and stuff. And then we see her, which is a fine, she looks fine. She looks general, beautiful anime character, but for them to not make more of like a spectacle of it was kind of like odd. Like, I get it, she's now part of the party, but like she just got introduced and she's kind of the goddess. I mean, I guess it's like her avatar, but she is the goddess of reincarnation. Like, this is crazy. Like, and then, oh, here's a grace and here's a power that you can do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, Okay, well,
And just to immediately follow up on that, the one of the parts of that grace never got utilized, and I don't know why they even bring it up
mhm.
because at least as far as this season goes, now it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just a gun hanging there on the wall that never got shot. But
Which
the
part are you talking about?
the whole, "Oh, it'll save you from one fatal blow that would
Oh yeah.
otherwise kill you." It's like, okay, so something's gonna happen soon with that. Like, why would they bring it up? Nothing happens with it, never gets
It'll
referenced.
be there.
It'll be there for season 2, if season 2, but
I
whatever.
think they did confirm that there was a season 2 coming. Um,
Good
you
for
did
them.
not look happy.
Good for them.
Dan brings up a great point here. I'm glad they
Yes.
finally explain why they need heroes and how heroes are different from regular people. Yes, we're going to get into that for sure because this is one of the big parts of this episode for sure. Claire says she is now a part of the party and will be forgotten by next episode along with everybody else. Another love interest to pseudo not really get into Calvin's pants or try to. I don't know, man. It was just kind of odd how here's this person that we've been building up for, and then here's the power to summon another person. Okay,
Yeah.
so they get asked why do they need heroes to defeat the Demon King because the Demon King has two big powers or two big reasons why he's the Demon King and what makes him a step above everybody else in the world. Papyrus Papias? I forgot how they pronounced it. Papias is something that nullifies damage and is like permanent god mode. And it also is an uncontrollable evil, from what they say, that takes them over. And
Yeah.
heroes from another world's powers come from a different source and can neutralize the Demon's King's invincibility. What do you think about that explanation? Finally, in episode 9, is that a good enough explanation?
I mean, it's ooh, I'm forgetting the word for it right now. But I mean, in a character form, it would be that they're just Mary Sue's. Then that just means if you come from another world, you're just a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. It's the explanation they leave us with. But I really would have hoped that there would have been more context around it. Like, oh, why? Oh, because only heroes from another world can utilize a certain relic, a certain skill. And I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's what it's kind of implying, but it just leaves it very much like, oh, just because they're from another world, innately um you neutralize this power that he has. And does that mean that like only your attacks neutralize the power, or you neutralize it entirely just by etc. Whatever. I don't know. It could have used a more compelling like explanation. It could have used more compelling reasoning as to
But they do
why heroes from another world can defeat the Demon King.
Yeah, they do explain it, and Claire says it's the quality of writing I've come to expect.
Yeah.
It
It got us to the point that the show wanted to get us to continue just going on with everything else it cares about, which
yeah.
is not really this stuff.
So yeah, I'm okay with them explaining it a little bit, but then also why from Earth or what we know as Earth, why humans are being brought over here, or is it just from Earth, or could it be from some other world with some aliens or something? That could be cool. Also, is Kelvin a hero or not? Because if he is, why did he need to summon a hero? And if not, how come he isn't a hero?
He asked her like, then I'm a hero too then, and she's like, well, yeah, that's part of the conversation that they had, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
Basically he was like, so my power would neutralize the Demon King too.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. He's like, then why do we
But
call it a hero? And she says her response is something along the lines of, well, things need the proper appearance or something like that.
yes, because what I
It's
took from
not.
that, what I took from that was that I think she knows he still wants to cover up him being a summoner,
Mhm.
and him being a rank S tier person shouldn't probably. Well, I guess yeah, as well. She doesn't want, or she knows that Kelvin doesn't want other people to know he's reincarnated. So maybe that's what it is.
Mhm.
Maybe whenever the Demon King gets defeated, Kelvin can be like, "Oh, it was because I summoned this girl."
Mhm.
Rio, or they changed Rion, Ryan, I guess, to point like, oh, I summoned this hero. She's the hero, not me. I was not reincarnated. I'm of this world. So I think twofold that he or Melfina knows that Kelvin wants to keep his summoner abilities
A
as a
secret.
secret,
Yeah.
and also he doesn't want to be known as somebody that was reincarnated from another world. So I think that's the way I took it.
Yeah.
We get some information about teleporting brings a living being into the world, or there is another way, reincarnation summons a soul of the dead. So there are two ways to resurrect. And reincarnation can choose anything they want to change. But as far as teleporting for the other band of heroes that were reincarnated here, they did not get to choose their ability. So that also twofold sort of makes sense to what why Kelvin was able to go twice the distance in a
Mhm.
certain amount of time, as opposed to the other heroes that were teleported from the other world who are still alive in the other world. So I'm
And I'm
okay.
okay with that
Yeah,
explanation, honestly. That one, just mechanically speaking, just makes
sure.
sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm
So
cool
yeah,
with that. I
I'm
was
okay
like,
with that explanation for
I don't
sure.
know about it coming in episode 9.
Yeah, yeah,
She could have told him that when she wasn't there. She could have
yeah.
told him when before she went on a little adventure. But
She's just
yeah,
withholding this information.
yeah, for sure. Kelvin summons his own hero reincarnation from somebody that has passed away in the Earth world, and it is a child, Rio Saiki, a child that has passed away at the hospital, who spent their whole life being sick, and they go by the name of Ryan. Rion? I
Yeah.
still don't know. Ryan? Rian?
Rion.
Ryan?
Rion.
Rion. That's the name of the
I'm
character.
gonna say Rion.
Sure. So we get to meet this new character as well. But the weird thing that was kind of funny to me in the end of the episode, he was like, "You're gonna be my little sister."
It would have
Okay.
been so fine if they just why did that have to happen? Why did that
He
have to happen?
but one specific thing he says had me literally scratching my head. He says, "Well, um, you black hair is rare in this world, and you can pose as my little sister." When we clearly see the different hair color here, he's saying that as we're getting a two shot of them, and he clearly has black hair and she
She
clearly has
clearly has
brown hair.
dark brown hair.
Matt, can you explain this?
all of
No,
this, all of this, just why? Why did that part have to happen
it was just
in
so
the
odd. It
first
was
place?
just
It
like
was
an
all
odd
odd.
thing.
Its inclusion was very off-putting after what was an otherwise fine character introduction. I
You're fine
mean,
with this character?
the thing. So okay, whew, this is the thing about this character that I have a problem with is that we already got the enclosed off from the world person who is now open to explore this outside
Hmm.
new world
Sure.
in Sarah, um,
Hmm.
the Demon King's daughter. We already got that with her for, like, all intents and purposes. It's the same,
That archetype of a character,
that
as
archetype
far
of a
as
character. Yeah.
moving a character story forward, we already got that slice.
Yeah, and it's like that. I'm not saying that that means that Rion is a bad character, but it muddies the water for, you know, these two characters who are now kind of existing in the same space, in terms of backstory, um,
Sure.
and relatability aspect, I guess you could say. Even it's it's because, yeah, Rion used to read all of these fantastical books, and Sarah used to hear about the ocean and wanting, they both have these similar backstories
Sure.
and character motivations, desires, etc. So it's a shame
Why
that they're kind
overlap?
of, yeah, it's a shame that those two characters exist in the same space. Um
So, would you rather have Rion be that type and then Sarah be a different type, or the other way
I
around?
mean,
Because
I think it's more compelling for Rion in the terms of the way that it was structured, and that like she also read like fantasy books, and now she's being brought to this fantasy world that she
Hmm.
always used to read about after not being able to experience the real world. Like, I love the concept of that character and what that brings to the show.
Sure.
So I feel like it would be
But
Sarah that I would want to see handled in a different way, but it's sucks because they're after being presented to me, it's like now I just don't want either of those characters to have to
sure.
not exist from the story.
But
But
maybe
yeah,
another twist on it to add to the character of Rion would be that she did read all this stuff and she did go into being sick for most of her life, and she's a kid, a little bit younger, and she did get to pick all her stuff, but then she ends up resenting the world or resenting people or not wanting to be close to anybody, and he ends up bringing in the Demon King to fruition. Have we ever seen a Demon King that was reincarnated? I don't think we know that, but something that my mind would say, "Oh, that's an extra level," would be for her to be like, "Oh, you reincarnated me. Thank you so much," but then end up going rogue and end up becoming the Demon King, and he has to wrestle with his thoughts of
because
like, "Oh, I
as a matter
summoned
of
her."
fact, in all those stories that she read, she actually, was
Rooted for the
rooting
bad
for the
guy.
bad guy. Yeah.
That could have been so cool.
Yeah.
That would have
I
been a
mean,
better
that's again that's a neat twist that you could have thrown that they could have thrown
to
right on it to
just based off
diversify
what
it
you were
up.
saying about getting them separate more,
Yeah.
to get Sarah and her separate.
'Cause, like, they're both good characters in the way that their stories are presented in vacuums, but then they
Mhm,
exist in the same space, and it's like, yeah, you're kind of doing the same we're treading the same water twice
mhm,
in terms of, thematically why these characters have the desires that they do.
sure. We gotta get going. Episode
Yeah.
10 of Black Summoner, New Family. Hello, everybody watching on Twitch. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna pick a brand new anime at the end of this, and we're gonna rate this anime on our scale. So let's get into episode 10, New Family. What happens?
Kelvin runs into some familiar faces while power leveling his party in a dungeon, then being told that he's probably ready to take the Class S exam. Rion goes through a training arc while her new companion Alex clearing out also clearing out a Trison ambush that was staged on Kelvin's estate. We see the leadership of Trison in deliberations of how to handle their newfound crisis.
Oof. And then we meet this person that is shirtless here. Yeah. A couple new characters as well. Outside of punching people once in a while, has Demon Girl done anything since she was introduced? Not big story wise, no. She's just another character in his party that enjoyed the water when we went over there. And she does punch people really good though, Claire. I don't know if you know. She
I mean,
punches people pretty good.
I'm forgetting his name right now because they barely say it. The
Demon
the
Knight,
black
the
the Black Knight
Black Knight.
guy. The only thing that he's really done since getting introduced is their talk about going back to his homeland one day, which doesn't happen in this
And
season.
and he's the tank. Come on. Every party needs a tank. He's always on defense. He's always the first in line, you know? Because I was just trying to
No, yeah.
think if anyone had any kind of character development at all. Oh, no, no, no,
That's
no.
the
We're
thing.
not.
That's
No,
that
no.
that goes right back into us saying that this is more of a slice of life anime. If anything else, these characters are just being put through situations where
Sure.
it's just about the silliness of how the next, problem is going to be tackled.
Yeah, because we have a dog now. I
Yeah.
mean, this family's growing. We got a little sister. We got a dog now. Kelvin is sleeping in bed with everybody.
Within 2 episodes after Rion gets introduced, she's taking down a Class S monster.
Yeah,
There's the development that is there is not there to be
explored.
actually explored. It's just it's flat and it's empty.
It's trying to tell another story, but it's not doing that well either. And I can appreciate them trying
Yeah.
to have that slice of life in an adventure setting, but it's doing too much of the adventure stuff to where I would want more slice of life stuff if they're actually going for that, because I can see what they're trying to do to try and put them in situations. It's cool. We're building this group of cool characters, and I'm okay with the characters. The characters themselves are cool, but again, we have to build and have some actual interesting stuff away from the action, because a lot of the interesting stuff that comes up is action, but we already know they're all overpowered. So how interesting can you make it to where they, oh my god, are we going to take them? Yep, we did. We took them all down. Oh, are we going to? Nope, we did it. Okay. So a lot of the interesting parts comes from the adventure fighting stuff, which is fine in adventure anime, but when you're trying to build a slice of life stuff, there should be other interesting stuff going on, like the stuff in the in this episode. Like, I liked all the general stuff. Like, I love
Mhm.
all this stuff where they're talking about their plans to unify all the different characters. We find out it's the dragoon general. There's dragons out there. We
Yeah.
find
They have like a
connections.
dragon with a collar under their control or some like that it's alluding to. There's a lot of setup that is
Yeah,
very that has a lot of potential that ultimately the show doesn't do a lot with, because it wants to do the things that it does, and that's kind of
sure.
just tread water with Kelvin in everybody talking about how, "Oh, you're traveling with a bunch of girls now.
Yeah, that whole
Why?
thing.
Why?
Yeah, it's
Oh my god,
very
why?"
it's very boy coded, where it's like, oh my god, he has one girl. No, he has more girls. I don't see any girls ever. What's there to do here? And it's like, okay, what can we not? Can we? Yeah. My quote here is: if you're gonna do it, but you're
Yep.
not doing it, and you have them all sleeping in the bed together. And I'm like, are you trying to tell us something? Are you trying to get to something? Because you're not.
At one point, he literally says, "I'm gonna get us a house so that way everybody can sleep in their own bed and I don't have to have this problem anymore." And then
Yeah.
he's like, "Look at me in this bed full of girls. This would have never happened in my last life."
But also it was a little odd. I just pointed out in
So
my notes that Efil wasn't there.
it's
She
like,
was the one that he wanted to begin with, and she said she loved him. She wasn't there. So what?
is Efil the actual love interest or is
I
Melfina the
don't
actual
know.
love interest?
I don't know.
There
Guess we
is
want to
I don't
watch
think there's an
season
actual
2.
love interest. That's the thing.
There's no love interest plot twist. So we find I do think
And I
that
think that's
Ryan.
why they kept I think that's why they kept Melfina away for so long is because they knew they were gonna bring her in, but they wanted that weird coding of, like you said, boy coded, like that's I don't even
So
know how
many
to, yeah,
girls.
so many girls.
But I do gotta say
Yes.
Ryan and the dog are very cute. I do like her little outfit. Pretty cool
I love
adventuring outfit.
Alex.
She's a swashbuckler, level 65. I found that out by reading the thing. I was like, okay, cool. Dual wield and all that stuff. Fine. Like we said already, we meet a bunch of characters: Zell Tryson, Asgrad Tryson on the council, Tristan Faze, and Dan Dalba, Shutoro Tryson. And we get them talking about war, talking about dragons, dragoons. Yeah, we meet a lot of different characters, and General Clive is the one. General Clive is the one that we see right here, right? Because
Yes.
we meet him later. Clive Theracy, who's the Magic Knights general, and he has a bunch of girls there, and he's naked and all this stuff. Oh my god, crazy character. Okay, yeah, episode 10, awesome. I do. Again, gotta say, all that other stuff needs more. We need more meat of like the world building stuff. I like that. It's cool. Give me more of that stuff. All right. Episode 11, Rank S Promotion Exam. What happens in episode 11?
Kelvin gets sent on his Class S exam, tasked with defending an elf village from a Class S monster and its minions. Uh, Efil gets mistaken for an elf that once saved the elven tribe from the wrath of a great dragon. Kelvin dismantles a Trison led demon assault on the forest, followed by Rion single handedly taking down a Class S monster just in time for a general to take the field against Kelvin.
Ooh. This one was probably no, I kind of like the last episode. The last episode was
Episode
pretty
10?
dope. No, episode 12, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
last episode of the series. So we get Efil being mistaken for Lumil, um, who is they tell this whole story, which I really enjoyed, about the Fire Dragon King needing a sacrifice because he was doing all this stuff, and then Lumil volunteered to become the Dragon King's bride after he said, "I'll forget about everything if you become my bride." Lumil's body was found in the forest, and that's what made all the other elves leave because they didn't want to see the Fire Dragon King coming back. What did you think about all this story, the way they told it, the artistry and all that? What were your thoughts on this part?
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting way of presenting the backstory, and I wish the show had done more things like this at any point before now. Because right now it's episode 11, and there's only one episode before the end of the season, and we're getting some actual like cinematic, uh, just expository storytelling, which is
Hmm.
really nice. I love it, but not in episode 11.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it came this late, and it's a shame that it's coming after, Ethel has been just demoted to
Fourth
a
girl.
yeah, a background character who hasn't really been doing anything other than like wiping Kelvin's face while he's eating.
She makes food. She's the cook.
Yeah, yeah.
She
I'm
makes really good
sorry.
food.
I forget about that. She's the tailor and she makes food.
Yeah.
She's the battle maid. So there's that going for her. But other than that, the show has provided nothing relating to her since her introduction. So yeah, it's sad to see it happen this late that she's finally getting some attention, but it's there. It's there, but it's late.
I kind of wish I get what they're doing by adding so many characters into the party for really quickly. I kind of wish this came when it was just them two. I kind of well, some of the parts because some of them you have to for
I
character
wish, yeah,
development.
he had learned about this before he broke the curse on her, because he just wanders off and wanders back and breaks the curse on her without any sort of consequence. But if he had, I I don't know, maybe if he,
Maybe if he asked, or even the slaver, because she's a slave,
yeah,
if the slaver knew her story and he just told her about it, or he told Kelvin about the story of her, how she got that, how
even if
whatever,
it's just a rumor.
or yeah, a rumor, or he goes to the tavern and says, "Hey, what's with that girl over there?" And they're like, "Oh, did you hear?
Or for
She."
some reason she has an affliction that can't be scanned by anything other than a really high appraising eye, which he has. He scans it, sees the name of it, and goes around town asking about it, and everybody's like, "Oh, we've heard about the story of that dragon and how it cleared the elves out of their continent." We don't like, even if that's it, you don't get all of it, but you get that much, and you have something to be led on with.
And then he sort
Led
of
on
thinks
with.
about it. He thinks about like, "Oh, should I do this?" Like, maybe, but then okay, whatever. So like,
So yeah,
yeah, I
I don't know.
think
Yeah.
I think it's our D&D brains trying to think of a better way to present this. Like our dungeon master brains, like, there's a better way to do it here. Where can we put it so that it's earlier and we can think of a couple things that could have worked better? Because episode
Yeah.
11 is kind of
Just
late. We already forgot she was in the party.
pepper it out, sprinkle it out, season it,
Season that season.
season it out. It goes across it, not in one spot. You don't
Uh,
load it up in one spot.
yeah. Because I mean, I still want to know about the Dark Knight too. Like, I wish it was just boom, here's a couple episodes with him and Efil. Okay, boom, here's a couple episodes with him in the Dark Knight. Or, the Dark Knight came before that, but like, I want more of them figuring out their own thing and then adventuring, because just being introduced and immediately put into the party, I don't care as much. I want to care about these characters so bad. I want to care about
And
them as people, not just their relationship to Kelvin.
that's exact what you like described is exactly why I enjoy a show like Black Clover, as it play even though it plays out over a course of time. There's a lot of seasons, a lot of episodes to that show. The opening arcs of that show are really just the main character Asta, each of the Black Bulls going off on a side quest with him, as we get to see their story peeled back and learn about the characters that they are.
Mhm.
And then it eventually makes the Black Bulls actually feel like this group of characters that you've come to know over this course of time, and you know what they've gone through, their pains, their trials, their tribulations. But here it's just we're learning about Ethel finally. We're finally getting some peeling back of that, but there's been absolutely nothing so far, so it doesn't feel like it's being built up to or from anything else. It just feels
Mhm.
like it's splat throwing it right in there, and then that's all it's going to be. Probably.
Yeah.
I would like to be I would like to be, told or see I would like to see otherwise, but at this
Sure.
point there's no more to go on.
There's no more episodes. Season 2 possibly coming soon, but we do get to see, let's see, in episode 11, we do get to see Rion fighting the giant lord, and he goes Super Saiyan, or he does another thing, and they go ahead and take them down, and it was pretty cool. I like the fight, but again, she's over leveled. All these characters are super over level, taking down an S tier character here without sweating it, using their true powers. I think it was Melfina that said, if you use your true powers or your true self or whatever it was, you will be able to take them down. And they do.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Again, a lot of the tense, interesting parts of it is based on action, which is fine in an action anime. But if you have a sort of pseudo 75% wanting to be slice of life anime with characters that are over fighting, they're over it. They can do it in their sleep. Don't make the cool epic parts the fighting parts. Make it some storytelling narrative that is bigger. Something bigger, more interesting about what's happening with a character at a time. Make it emotional as well, because all these characters have are seen very happy the entire time. Give us some emotional beats as well. I would like to have seen Rion being sad because she won't be able to see her parents again, or maybe she had a brother, or no, she was a only child, but maybe have her cry one night and be like, I don't have a family. Like, oh man, my family's gone. They'll never see me again. And then Kelvin be like, we're your family now, or something to that extent. I want to see them feel emotions
And
because right now they're super flat.
that's the thing where in her training arc we get to see the shot of her in the bed with Alex, and then Kelvin and Melfina are like peeping in the room and like giggling, and like they shut the door on her, and I'm like, that's their surrogate child. They've just gone full send on it.
Yeah.
And that's again, it wraps back around to the show not really having any stakes at any time.
No,
There
no
are no
stakes.
stakes on the grill.
Nope.
it's
Zero
just
stakes.
uh it's just all of this throwing massive like roadblock in front of them and having them absolutely crash right through it over and over and over again. Just
Sure.
how
It's
big can this spectacle be at this given time?
yeah. So at the end, we see Clive stand up to Kelvin here, almost hitting him with an attack. And that leads us into episode 12. So the final episode of the season of Black Summoner, we are here. Episode 12, another reincarnated. So what happens in episode 12?
General Clive and Kelvin engage in an aerial battle of both magic and ideals as they discover each other to both be resurrected from another world. Kelvin Kelvin succeeding in the fight against Clive, but not able to deal a killing blow before he gets rescued by another general and whisked away to safety. Kelvin and the rest of the party rejoin before getting debriefed by the Beast King that Kelvin has completed the exam, announcing his passing and next trial as he and everyone else move on to stronger foes.
Let's
Just about
go.
fighting the stronger person. It's our only moving force.
In an anime where these are the most this is the most overpowered team, the goal is to fight harder people. Okay.
I
Uh
mean, there's a few countries they still haven't been to, apparently. So
He's already S class though. Like, what are we doing here? And he's the I okay, we'll get into that at the end. So we get Clive, the general of Trice and Magic Knights. He is confirmed a reincarnated, and we get that storyline that I wanted for Rion, where he's just like, fuck everybody. This is a magical world. Who cares? Like
Yeah,
nobody on this world matters. And like I'm cool with that. Like him
yeah.
as a character, I'm down for the bad guy that he wants to be. Well, what do you
And
think about him?
he no, I love the way that they immediately showcase this character as a foil to Kelvin, because like I was
Mhm.
saying in the last episode, we Kelvin is a character. We see his personality emerge over the course of the show. It's not a lot, but we
Sure.
do get some of it. And one of the things I said is that he's somebody that cares about the people around him. And that's immediately showcased in how General Clive is a foil in that he doesn't care about the people around him because he's willing to just charm them out of their will into doing whatever it is that he wants, like throwing themselves into the front line of a battle that they
Mhm.
have no idea they're even participating in,
Sure.
um, all the way to blasting magic haphazardly at them while engaged in combat. So it's I like to see that happen. I like it to be the fact that this battle's happening and there's a layer of the ideals that they're contesting against each other at the same time on top of it. And that's also represented in the types of magic that Clive pulls out, and that he eventually just kind of generates a natural disaster. Not
Generates a natural disaster, but his main weapon or his main skill before that is also telling of his personality as well, is that he created a barrier around himself only. Like he's very so much self-centered, and I like that his magic played into that a little bit. Like what can I do to make me the strongest or make sure I'm good is to have all my points go into this barrier that will protect me only, and I will never be hurt. And that's sort of the coward way to think about it, but a way that I think he would think of. Like he
Yeah,
would
and
want
that's
that power,
that's
so it makes
why we
sense.
see the reaction that we get out of him when he gets a scratch on his face,
Mhm.
because he's probably never had any damage put on
Any
him
damage
after
at all.
getting into this world, after just sinking all of his points into like abjuration magic, basically.
Yeah.
All points into that.
So we get the rank S magic, the Tempest Barrier, and it is taken down by a spell that Kelvin has never tried before, but he did it. First time, and he did it. The Borealis Scythe or Boreas Scythe, I think. And then he gets rescued. Clive gets rescued by Tristan Faze, who is the one that attacked the village. And he says the thing. He says, "See you around, Black Summoner." And I was like, they did it. Episode 12. Here we are. What did you think about? We don't have any pictures of it, but what do you think about Tristan punishing Clive at the end? Was
Oh, I
that
just got a shot of his glasses, I think, of him talking about
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it makes sense that after learning that that this guy's a reincarnated, his motives would quickly switch if
sure.
he because it seems as though that he didn't know that he was a reincarnated before. That was probably something that Clive kind of let slip when he said, I've never actually heard somebody say that before in kind of reference of like modern day pop culture.
Mhm.
And then it's like, how do you know that that's some? How do you know that? How do you know that? And
Yeah,
the battle is being observed. So I like the way that that played out, and that he put his legs back together and stuff. There's the only thing that I wish I had known, or that it would have let us know as the audience 100% whether or not the charm effect was taken off on the Magic Knight girls,
sure.
and if that was them getting,
Their
recompensed,
revenge.
or
Yeah.
if they're still just charmed by Tristan now.
Mhm. I
Because
think I
their
would have
their
liked it
faces were
more.
covered.
Yeah, I would have liked it more if they did get their revenge on him.
Because yeah, then it's the bad that he gets what he wants, even though
Yeah.
he got away. He gets what he deserves. I mean, not what he wants.
Yeah. For sure. Claire says, "You keep talking about their ideals, but until this, I didn't think that our protagonist had any. He was entirely blasé about buying a slave. His ideals
Conflict
for
of
fam."
personalities.
his
Conflict of
ideals
personalities.
about his family. He'll get to the slave thing maybe, hopefully, because they do bring it up as well. They bring it up in episode 10 that it was Tristan Faze's idea for slaves in Taraj. So they're still bringing on this little thing here. That's not such a little thing, but they're still bringing it along in the storyline. Hopefully, for some reason, hopefully that Kelvin will get to it finally when he's done having parties thrown for him for being rank
Maybe
S.
someday.
Maybe someday he'll get to it, but right now it's in the back of his head. He's not worrying about his ideals. He's with his family right now. He got a new dog. I don't think you saw it. His best boy. But yeah, you're right. I'm
It's
being
it's
I'm being
paper
sarcastic.
thin.
Of course.
It's paper thin
Of course. I mean, he definitely should be more concerned if he does say he cares about this world, because he was talking to Clive about this. They did a whole standoff, anime standoff there at the last episode where he's like, I care about people, I care about this family, and I care about the people of this world. Okay, bro, but like you gotta do actions. Actions speak louder than words here. So it
because
is
more often than
conflicting.
not, when we
Yes.
see him do things, it's like he said that one time, he was like, "Yeah, these guys are pretty weak, and if I fight them, I'm not gonna have a lot of fun, but I guess I gotta do something about it."
Yeah.
Like, we know that he's ultimately just led by his battle junkie nature, but again, at its bare minimum, we can at least, I mean, like I said, but in the last episode, he's somebody that cares about the people around him, even if it's just immediately surrounding him, and then it's somebody that mistreats the immediate people surrounding them. So even if it's paper thin, it's giving me something on top of the fight, which I appreciate. I'm not saying they pulled it off great, and I am saying that other shows do that better when there's that conflict of different ideologies and stuff like that going alongside shonen battle anime and stuff like that. It's done way better in many other places, definitely, but it's giving something after the show had been not giving a lot, and I have
Sure.
to acknowledge that.
We do meet Leonhardt Gone, the Beast King of Gone. They were watching, and no, it's not a little girl. There's a guy that can change their appearance. Okay, cool. Another girl in the show. And they say that Kelvin has passed his S rank and he is now an S rank person, and he will go on to have a showdown, a mock fight with other S class heroes. And he's so excited, and they're going on to season 2, baby. Here we are. We got some bad guys in the background, way far back in the background. A bunch of people, the entire forest that was cleared out by Kelvin's crew. But we got to get some more bad guys out here, some stronger bad guys for this little family to fight. That's the end of the anime. So we rate, if this is your first time watching the end of an anime, we rate the anime, all the episodes we saw, episode 1 through 12 of Black Summoner, on 3 criteria: animation, storytelling, and vibes. And we put it up on the rank list, whether it's an S class anime or anywhere in between, down to F class anime. And we tell you our reasoning for it. So, Matt, Black Summoner, where would you put on animation?
Animation, I'm actually giving it a B on animation,
Okay.
where any time that it's the 2D animated stuff, I'm loving it. And if it was all stuff like the 2D animation, it would have probably hit A tier for me. What brings
Sure.
it down to B is when we get the CG 3D rendered stuff. There it looks, it's probably the best that I've seen in a lot of anime.
Yeah.
But it's still doesn't hold a candle to 2D hand drawn animation.
Sure.
It pulled off a couple things, yeah, like this backstory sequence. Really liked that. So there's a couple visual things that it definitely had some flair and some style that I give it points for. So it's sitting at a B for me. Where would you rate it for animation?
I have animation as a B as well because, like you said, it did look really pretty when it was 2D. I love the colors. I'm such a loser person where I'm just infatuated with the bright colors. I'm such a child when it's like, "Ooh, pretty colors, pretty anime girls, fine. Okay, I'll watch it." But like it really did. I mean, that's why like I used to play Fortnite cuz like, "Oh, look at all the bright colors." Like it really had me in the beginning, not going to lie. Like at the beginning, I was so in it. And I was so ready for this to be a great story because of the immediate greens, the greens of the background, the greens of the grass, all the blue sky, all that stuff. I'm such a fan of the animation when it's this style. Now, the 3D we did see in the last fight as well. Not a fan. Not I really hate when the Black Knight would have his battles, and it could have been so much cooler if he didn't have the 3D animation. But I think that was my only the only downfall for this anime for animation, and it was kind of a big one because there were some
Yep.
key moments where it needed to be good and all everything else looked good. But I was like, come on, man,
Yep.
this isn't it. So I put animation at a B, um, which is all right, which is better than average. But it did get bogged down by all the other stuff. I did like as well all the class stuff when it would bring up all the class stuff. That was a cool plus
Hmm.
because I like seeing all those numbers, big numbers, and I could pause it and read all their different stats and stuff. I did like that kind of stuff, but animation B as well. So storytelling, what would you give it?
For storytelling, I'm giving this one a D. Uh, really drops the ball hard with most things that the show had potential with. There are a few character beats, not really beats, but just the way characters are introduced into this party, the way the show paces itself out over the course of the like the way the show paces itself out. It's not poorly paced, but at the same time, I feel like we're not necessarily getting anywhere. It's really hard. There's not a lot of things keeping it from like honestly just sinking down to F, other than the fact that I've seen so many shows do things like this before that it's one of those things where I don't know if the show just expects the audience to fill in gaps where a show would traditionally cover certain bases, hit certain notes or stuff, but it checks a lot of boxes on being an isekai adventure anime, and that's why I'm giving it a D. But it really doesn't do anything to build off of it, and that's why it's staying at a D.
Mhm. For storytelling, I'm giving it a C. I'm kind of thinking that this anime, I might have enjoyed it. I might have enjoyed it just enough to put it on in the background and to do something else and have it as background stuff because I wouldn't have to pay attention to it. I would just be like, oh, okay, what's happening? All right, cool. Go back to my video game or whatever. And that's kind of how I think each anime has a place, and like you can't compare it to something as dense as a psychopath or something like that, but I think this anime works well as something to casually watch, and I'm trying to grade it as a casual watcher because this anime has nothing in it for us, me and you, me and Matt here. But as a casual anime fan, it's like, all right, it hits the boxes like you said, but there's nothing much to it and it's really pretty. The storytelling could have been better. We had so many thoughts in these past 3 episodes how it could have excelled, but it doesn't. It stays here in the middle of the road, so I thought give it a middle of the road area, C for storytelling. Vibes, what would you rate on the vibes of Black Summoner?
For the vibes, I'm giving it a C. I'm giving it a C on the vibes because there were a lot of not really reveals, but there was a lot of moments that had impact for me. I'm kind of losing them off the top of my head, but over
Sure.
the course of the show, there were a lot of moments where I was sitting there and I felt the impact of the scene, but just as equally, um there were scenes that kind of took the air out where I was just like, are we really, we're really doing this right
Sure.
now? Are we really going there with this? Like, again, it goes back to a concept that Jules says all the time. If you're gonna like go with something, yeah, if you're gonna go with those sexual situations, full send it. Just do it instead of treading the and beating around the bush because then you're not giving anybody anything. And that's what happened here, where they're trying to throw in that slight fan service, but then it's not really anything much. So really, you're just bugging the people that don't like fan service,
Hmm.
and the people that want fan service aren't getting enough. Um, it's treacherous territory for sure.
Hmm.
And as we move forward into more modern day anime, we see less and less fan service being at the forefront. And that's something that I enjoy about more modern anime. And that's something that I thought was going to be excluded from this anime because it didn't have such a clickbaity name like a lot of the other isekais do
Hmm.
that have like 9 words in their title. This
Sure.
one kept it clean and classy with the name Black Summoner, and I thought we were going to be keeping it clean and classy, and it quickly doesn't keep it clean and classy, which
Sure.
is it is what it is, but for me that kills the vibe in a lot of ways when in a lot of other ways the vibes were immaculate. So it's really conflicting for me on this one, the most conflicting vibes rating that I've had to give so far, and that's why I'm at a C.
Okay.
How were the vibes for you at the end of the
I
day?
give the vibes a B because when they were chilling and having a good time, I was okay with it. All of what you said, true. I agree with that. Um, but when they were having a decent time and they were like chilling and we got a little dog, and I was like, I felt myself happy. And I was like, okay, this is for, let me just turn my brain off. Let me turn it off. I'm not analyzing shit. And I'm just going to try and be dumb here and be like, okay, fuck it. They just killed all a bunch of guys. All right. It's kind of like when you're in D&D, you have your over leveled Dungeons and Dragons character that's like level 15 or whatever, and y'all are just gods basically. And it's like, all right, wanna go shopping or do something silly? It's like, okay, yeah, why not? Let's kill this dragon lord here and just fucking do whatever and have a party and get a dog now. We have a kid. Cool. Okay. So when they were chilling, I'm like, okay, they're chilling. And I'm trying to chill too. And I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I could. So I was like, all right, I'm happy. There were some funny moments here and there throughout the anime. And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. And I'm like, huh, I breathed out of my nose a little bit harder than usual. So like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, all the other stuff didn't fit well. all the all the action and stuff too overpowered and all that stuff, and just the vibes. We're still middle of the road, but I found myself enjoying moments like this. Like, oh, Rion got a new outfit. I'm like, oh, cool. We got new weapons. Here's the name of the weapon. Here's the ranking for the weapon. Oh, we have the dog here. We got another character added. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to like, it's definitely a casual watch
Mhm.
um with these episodes. It did get more into the action stuff than what we've seen in these other in these other episodes that we talked about, but I'm trying to get to the point where I'm like, just enjoy, I guess, kind of. And I think I enjoyed the anime, and I'm questioning if I did. I don't know. I enjoyed it enough. I'm here. So
I
that's
I
kind of the
gotta
vibes I
say,
got.
I gotta say, if I took the opening and the ending into account, I could probably scratch it into B tier on vibes because had a pretty good opening and a pretty good closing. I don't know if you
Yep.
noticed, but after Rion gets introduced, the closing song changed. Um,
I didn't.
it was slight. This is like very small, and the ending it saw the sequence changed because they add Melfina and Rion
Mhm.
um into the ending. So gotta
Gotcha.
say, like it's pretty good on the opening and the ending vibes.
Claire says, I can certainly say this is an anime I watched and that I deeply regret that. And the opening was the one redeeming feature. All right.
It's something that like again, I wish it had one of those names where I just would have known more so of what I was getting myself into beforehand because I just really wanted something with more structure, with more
Sure.
substance, and we didn't get that here. What we did get is still an anime that exists.
So let's go ahead and put this anime on the list of anime that we've gotten. So the final ranking for Black Summoner here for me and Matt
Drum
is,
roll.
I gave it a B. Matt gave it a C. And here is where it ranks on the other anime that we watched already. And I'm thinking, like, where is the rewatchability line? Like, would you watch this over again?
I don't
Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't
So
think this one's hitting the rewatch any. It's like for
yeah,
me, anything C or below is not a rewatch in my books.
I think
Anything
for me, B and below. I think only A and S tier where I'd be like, okay, cool.
A and S tier is definite rewatch. B tier is rewatch if you are a fan of that genre specifically, if
Sure.
that's your favorite and that's all you only like watching one genre.
Mhm.
That's B tier would still be in rewatch. But if you like watching anything, then I would be in the S and A tier for sure.
So would you recommend this anime if somebody said, "Hey, I need to watch a new anime. What can I watch?" Would you
It's
recommend Black Summoner?
not a recommend for me, even for fans of the genre.
W- What
It's
about somebody
some
that hasn't seen an isekai before?
yeah, no,
No. Okay.
no.
Or
Like
somebody that hasn't watched anime before.
somebody that hasn't watched anime or doesn't know what a isekai is, the anime I'm recommending they watch is Angel Beats.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a good one.
that's
That was a really great one. Yeah.
no question. And that's again, that's something that I wanted to bring up with Rion, where like again, we've seen other stories do that concept better too, with the whole character that was
I tried Cosmo.
trapped in a medical setting. They had conditions that kept them from living their life normally.
Mhm.
Angel Beats did that first, did it better. Whatever,
Angel
we can
Beats
move
did
on.
it. Angel Beats did it. So that's the end of Black Summoner Talk. The anime is over. We're done. And we need to pick a brand new anime for the next weeks. We have a chest of summoning here, and we're about to summon a brand new anime to watch for the next couple weeks. Put in the chat if you're watching live on Twitch, which one do you want to be pulled? Which one do you want us to watch next? We have a lot of them here. At the very top on the left, it says, "Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?" Those two are the same title. It was just way too long. But those are the anime that we're picking out from, and there's a bunch of them here in the chest. And Matt is about to pick it out. A lot of these are suggestions from the community, so thank you so much for your bits for suggesting anime. And the next anime, our future personalities will be.
That's Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash.
Oh, I think that was Bubsy. Oh, I saw the
That's
art for that
Bubsy.
one. That one looks beautiful.
Grimgar,
Grim
Fantasy, and Ash.
Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. I'm pretty sure
Bubsy
it's on
pick.
Crunchyroll. Bubsy pick here. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Watch the first 4 episodes. I think it's only one season. Not too sure. Haven't looked it up. But watch the first 4 episodes of Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. We're going to put it in the Discord. Um, we'll write it down, and that will be what we're watching next. Hopefully, it's really
12
good.
episodes.
12 episodes. So we're doing 4 each. First 4 episodes by next Wednesday or on Friday if you watch on YouTube or Spotify. That's what we're going to be watching next. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for watching this episode and the end of Black Summoner. Matt, when you're not summoned into a new world, where can they find you?
You could find me sometime streaming on my Twitch at Matt_Galley. Also follow me on any of my socials at ITS Matt_Galley. Just add an ITS at the front. When we're not here, overpowered in another world, where can the people find you?
Jules the Human on all social media at JULES the Human on all social media and YouTube. I have a bunch of videos up. I posted a lot of videos. I posted some reaction videos, posted some Honkai content. Been playing a lot of Honkai. Been playing a lot of Reverse 1999. So those 2 games are. I'm gonna add another gotcha game. I think I was watching a video about it. I'm in my gotcha arc right now, so I'm just playing a bunch of gotcha because that's all I do at work. I have a new work from home job, and most of the time I'm playing Honkai or reading books, and it's really great. So I have a lot of time to do that. I mean, wait, hold on. We got him. We got him, boys. Jules the Human on everything. On Spotify, you can watch this anime podcast, the Jules and Anime, or watch the video on Spotify or on my YouTube. I have a whole playlist of all the anime that we've already watched. And next week, Dan and everybody else, we are going to be watching Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. So here it is on the bottom right in the middle, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. We're going to put that in the Discord. And that's what we're going to be watching. What 1 through 4, and watch that before next week. And hopefully, if you want, the whole point of this is so that we can all watch anime together. We've never seen it. Me or Matt never seen it. It's a suggestion from one of y'all, and we want to go on an adventure together and explore all the anime out there. So that's the goal here: is that we watch anime together, whether we like it, whether we don't, whether it's somewhere in the middle. We went through it together. Next week, we'll see you on the next episode of the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, and that's it. Bye.
Bye.